How many or what are the different types of wiring that you use?
Well, there's stranded wire, which is multiple wires that bend like this real easily. It's kind of wire that you have in an extension cord or a table lamp that might go on an end table. They're very flexible. That's like a 14, 16, 18 gauge. When you start installing lights like we have up here that are 110, 120 volts, and you're only using a standard switch, like I showed you earlier, that's just one location, you use a wire that's 12 gauge. It's stiff. It stays wherever you bend it, and it's able to hold more electricity than these lights. And you have 3 wires. Every wire group is always going to have a ground. That's a safety wire. And then a hot and a neutral, black and white. That's used on a single switch for a single light. But as I showed you earlier, when we have 3 switches on 3 lights, we have to use a 12 gauge wire that has an extra wire that's red. So you have your ground, and then you have your neutral, and then you have your 2 other wires, and those are called travelers. And they go back and forth between these 3 switches and the light and bring the power back and forth to turn the light on or off depending on where you're at. Same thing is true with a large light, like the kind that are on an outside light on a sidewalk where they have 220 volts and you have a lot of juice, the kind that could kill you. Use a really thick wire, and that's called a 10 gauge wire. You have your ground, your neutral, and your 2 travelers for that as well. So
Okay.
those are the 3 main common wires, and then your smaller table lamp wires that don't take a whole lot of juice.
All right. And you said when you have a bad light bulb, all you have to do is turn off your switch. But what do you have to do when you have a bad switch?
Well, when you have a bad light bulb, like we had this one here earlier, if that fixture went bad, and even when I put light bulbs in it, it wouldn't work, then that means it's probably not the fixture, it's the switch. And when the switch goes bad, I have to go find the breaker that goes to that light, and that's on our breaker panel outside, and I have to turn that off. That kills the power to the switch. The switch kills the power to the light, but the breaker kills the power to the switch, and in order to replace a switch, you have to kill the power. Would you like to see what a breaker panel looks like?
Sure.